And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Lights, camera, action. Josh Thompson, the real Punk. Are you ready?
Boom!
Latest edition of the Weighing In podcast, because UFC 257 is now history. And boy, do we got a lot of stuff to talk about, baby.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I mean, we could stir the pot a little bit tonight. We could talk about all the woulda, coulda, shouldas. But you know what? Let's start. Look, I really honestly, and I don't want to be a total Debbie Downer, but the card was just okay. The last two fights were obviously very electric. I thought the Calderwood and Jessica Eye fight was good, like in terms of a scrap back and forth. Yeah. And then the Hebus fight I thought was okay. Was pretty good.
Marina Rodriguez, you got to admit.
Yeah, she looked good.
Boom.
But obviously
the second round.
But Hebus won the first round.
Yeah, absolutely. But not. You got to look, and Hebus got the fight where she wanted it.
Yes.
She wasn't able to do anything. Rodriguez did a very good job defending, making life miserable for her, putting it so she couldn't do any damage. It was Hebus doing what she needed to do, but Rodriguez stopping it and looking good in the first round, as far as she didn't win the round, but she didn't take any damage.
Yeah. Broke my heart to see Hebus lose.
Mine too.
Mine too. No, but no, I mean, like she had a couple good things that happened in the first round. She was able to dominate the top position. But when it came down to it in the second round, she just didn't close the distance. You can't get carried away sticking on the outside, knowing someone's got a good right hand and is longer than you. You can't just, and that was kind of a little bit how Jessica Eye fell into that same problem. You got to make sure that you stay moving, that you're moving your head side to side and punching your way in. You can't stand in one spot and try to land punches from there, knowing that you're the shorter and the not as lengthy of a fighter. And it was the same thing over and over. Yeah. And technically as well with the Calderwood thing situation. And Hebus on the feet as well as in terms of technique. But I expected more out of Hebus in terms of closing the distance, making it a grimy, dirty fight. Kind of how Dustin did in the first round, trying to get in there and press the action against the fence and trying to get the hands to lower a little bit. All that type of stuff. You've got to make these fights MMA fights when you get to those top, 10 people in the top 10 brackets. So it just wasn't there for Hebus tonight. The first round went her way, but she didn't in the second round. I don't know if she just got comfortable. Was like, oh, you know what? I was able to get the takedown easy in the first. I'm just going to stick and move. Well, it only takes one shot to turn the lights out, and we saw that a couple times tonight. But the same thing led into the Jessica Eye situation where Jessica just wasn't moving her head offline. She's a dirty junkyard dog. I had Jessica win in the first round. One judge had her win in the first round as well. It was a close round, so I'm not mad at it. But I had Jessica win in the first round and then losing the next two. It was pretty convincing decision. But Jessica just needs to get her head offline, punch as she's sliding in to that phone booth, and she wasn't doing that. She's standing in her same distance, trying to land punches on someone who has got a 3 or 4 or 5 inch reach advantage on her, maybe even longer than that,
and is just technically in the stand-up game a smoother, more efficient, and better fighter. I'm not saying if you're Jessica, you need to make it that grimy fight, but even when they got into the dirty boxing and they were clinching inside, Calderwood was landing the better shots overall. Now, it doesn't mean that Jessica didn't land at times, but overall, even in the dirty boxing range in that phone booth when they're clinched up, Calderwood was landing the better shots. She's just the more technical stand-up fighter. And so the place that if you're looking to say, well, where is it you want this fight to be? She tried multiple times. She got it down there a little bit, but she was never able to cause any problems on the ground for JoJo.
The thing for JoJo, though, is I felt like what won her the fight was, like you were saying, a little bit in that clinch area. But when they did get to the clinch, it was the knees. Okay, that won her that
Hello.
A lot of that paid dividends in the third round.
Yes,
so she had landed the cleaner, harder knees in the second, and then going in the third, she hung on Jessica's head because she's the taller, longer, lankier fighter. She hung on her head, made her carry her weight, and then when she popped her head up, boom, right to the knees. That's beautiful work by her. I wanted to see even though Jessica was in that phone booth, you've got to keep those hips pressed to your opponents.
Yeah,
making sure they're not getting
It's got to come tight because also the elbows, Josh.
Yeah.
Take a look at the elbows that she landed on the exits at time. You look and you go, come on, Jessica, you have to be ready for that. You have to put yourself in a position where you realize I'm going to turn this way. This is the side I need to look towards. This is where it's going to come from.
Yeah.
It's just there's just a level difference in their skill set in the stand-up. Jessica she's a tough fighter, but right now her skill set hasn't gotten better.
Well,
it really hasn't. It hasn't.
So here, who do you place the blame on though? On her, or do you place the blame on the camp that she's at?
She's moved around in camps, Josh.
Yeah.
She's been moving from one camp to another.
Yeah.
And it's hard to say, where you're going to put the blame, but you've got to have a system in place where you're getting better. You're learning new things and your efficiency while you're fighting has increased. I don't see it increasing with it. She's tough. She is a tough girl and she will fight, but she's in the upper, segment of she's fighting the best girls there are in the flyweights. And right now she's fighting at a deficit because the skill set and the technical ability, I'm seeing that all of the ladies that she's fighting, they're higher than she is. So she's starting the fight off as the person who's underneath, and she's got to win it on being gritty and dirty and tough and being that junkyard dog. It can only get you so far.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. I'm looking at the rankings here. You've got Calderwood at 7, Jessica at 6, in which they'll flip-flop probably.
That's going to flip.
Yeah, somewhere in there. I mean, but I look at Jessica. She beats Roxanne Modafferi. I don't know. I mean, like here, the one person that's kind of like a dark, I think she beats Roxanne. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I'm not getting ahead of myself, but every time you watch Roxanne, she gets by in the stand-up, even though it's strange and awkward, but she's tough. You go to the ground with her, she's tough down there, man. Yeah. She's got good skills on the ground.
The one that's the dark horse in all this is Macy Barber. She's extremely young. She's still very talented. Her only loss she suffered because of her knee. She had hurt her knee, I think, against Roxanne Modafferi, correct, in that fight.
Yep.
And then she wasn't. And after the rest of the fight, just kind of went out the door after that. But she's like kind of the dark horse in that whole situation. I think she'll end up making a run at the title. I mean, I don't think
she's got a fight coming up.
Yeah, but none of them are going to end up beating Valentina until she decides she just wants to do something else.
No, I don't see it.
It just, I mean, like when you get to that area, oh, she's fighting Alexa Grasso?
Yes.
Ooh,
good fight.
Hello.
Ooh, see?
Hello. Alexa Grasso's hot, man.
Alexa Grasso can throw.
Yes, she can. Yes, she
and she's
can.
Fighting smarter now, and she's at a better weight.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that as well. Go back to the card, please.
There's a card.
Oh,
go
sorry,
back
to
the
card, please.
Please,
yeah.
give me
So
the card.
I mean, in that whole situation there, you've got go scroll up so I can see the rest of the card. I'm just looking at all the undercard stuff before we start talking about Juliana Pena versus Sarah McMahon. I mean, I don't understand. There was no reason for Sarah to, like, her stand-up has come a long way.
God, dang it! Thank you very much.
She started panicking on the feet, like for what?
She was doing great her entire career, and I really loved Sarah, and I've talked to her a lot, and at times I told her, you have got to go, you got to get away from where you're at, and she has finally. And you can see her skill set. This is what I'm talking about. The same thing with Jessica I. Her skill set has improved. Her stand-up is so much better, Josh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's night and day how much better she is in the stand-up. And she was doing better in the stand-up than Juliana Pena. And if you're going to look and say, all right, where's the one place that you could get into trouble now? It's going to the ground with her. And she takes her to the ground off of it. And it's like, from that point, she was, she got positions and things like that, but there was never that point where she was being dangerous on the ground, Juliana. And once Juliana took her down, that was a beautiful takedown. She hit on her. And once she did, it was trouble.
Yeah. It just was one of those situations where Sarah I'm like, your stand-up looks so much better.
Oh,
so much better. Her defense looked on point.
It
Her
was
hand
tight.
was
There was
clean.
balance. Her footwork was good.
Straight down the
She was
pipe.
doing-
I was like,
Yeah.
man, she had landed a beautiful right hand in the first round right before she decided to get the takedown. And sure, it went her way the rest of the round. But then you get into like, okay, now you're gonna start getting panicking to shoot the takedowns in the second. And you're like, what are you doing? Your stand-up's fine. Just relax. Stay composed. You're doing a great job. She cannot take you down. I was like, she cannot take you down. But then you started panicking.
Well, she did though.
Yeah, she did. But I'm saying like because she started panicking, like she needed to get a takedown. They got into the clinch and she got thrown. You know, I was like, but that didn't need to happen. Look, when you start thinking, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, and it's not working, or you think, or like you're pressuring yourself to do it, your mind gets distracted in the fight, and then that's how she ended up getting the takedown. It was one of those situations like you didn't have to put that much pressure on yourself, and you could see as soon as it happened, you could see it just start to trickle in her head, like, damn, I got to do this, I got to do this. Why? Your stand-up is looking phenomenal. Keep doing what you're doing.
Confidence. She has more confidence. And because of her lifetime of wrestling and what she's done in the wrestling world, she's got confidence there. I just don't think she carries that same confidence when it comes to the stand-up game, and that's the difference.
I'm going to talk a lot on wrestling, like on the wrestling mindset. For wrestlers, they've got to go hard for 6 minutes. If you've noticed that, like even like tonight, with like look at people like Michael Chandler, and look at people like Sarah McMahon. Other wrestlers, and Mike Van Arsdale, classic case, that they get so tired because they're used to that their whole life. They've been wrestling 6 minutes really, really hard, as hard as you possibly can. Strength, power, aggressiveness, speed, all this stuff. Some of them never get a chance to get away from it. They just mentally cannot turn that switch off. And don't get me wrong, they're phenomenal wrestlers and they're phenomenal what they did in wrestling. But this is MMA and it's a marathon compared to wrestling. It's not a sprint. And I think she's kind of got caught up into that situation. Mike Van Arsdale, I kid you not, 40 years old, ripped, shredded, one of the best athletes I've ever seen in my life. But the worst conditioning I've ever seen in my life because of the anxiety, because of the fact that like he just couldn't get past the 5 rounds, or I mean the 5 minutes. It was like as soon as he hit the 5 minute mark, it was like, get me out of here, Bob. Throw the towel in. I'm done. I'm over. I mean, it was a weird situation. But the guy could train all damn day, wouldn't get tired, just train. Wrestlers have that. I think that switch that they've just got to learn to figure out that you're gonna get tired. You just got to keep going. Now, in a 6 minute match is different because you know you're going to get tired and it's going to be over in 6 minutes. But 15 minutes, you got to understand that you're going to keep going for 15 minutes. But you're going to slow down a lot if you don't learn how to like kind of pace yourself a little bit. Chandler went through that a lot in his career. You know,
sometimes
he didn't get a chance to show it tonight, but I mean, like he went through it a lot in his career that he just doesn't know how hasn't learned quite how to pace himself. And, you know, we've seen it a couple times where he did sometimes. We've seen a couple times where he just didn't, and it worked against him as the fight went on. Look, outside of that, I think Calderwood's going to jump up. She's not ready for a title shot. Slow your roll. Okay, you're on your way back, but you're on the right track. Jessica I needs to figure out a situation. Needs to quit bouncing around from gym to gym. I think she's still with the XMA though. Or not XMA, Extreme Couture, correct?
I don't think so.
No, she left.
Yeah,
she had left before. I had talked to her, I don't know, probably about right before she fought Shevchenko. I had talked to her.
This is why I said she's been changing camp. You
can't get better.
She was with, well, they said she was working out with Jake Shields a lot too. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You've got, and as much as there was moments there in my career where I wanted to leave AK, but then I went to other gyms and I realized I'm like, you know, I've spent my whole career at AK. It's home. Like, there's nothing I can do to change that. Sure, sometimes you need to change, but if you need to change, do a change within your gym. Like, grab a different coach and start working with them on the side. Don't work with the same coach. Grab other coaches or go to other gyms when you're not fighting. Go to another gym
and train when you're not, you don't have a fight.
Yeah.
Go and train at another gym, train with other fighters, train with other trainers, and get little bits of information from them. Give them things that, how you do it. Mm-hmm. All of that is good for you, and that helps you grow as a fighter. But to jump around from gym to gym, you kind of get lost in the whole process because, you're the new thing there, but all of a sudden, it's just not a good process. There is something about your trainer learning things about you and understanding you and you understanding what they're trying to, get out of you. It's that whole process that is lost when you're moving from one place to another.
Yeah.
And just not the smartest.
Yeah, I took that up, I think, right after the Yves Edwards fight when I was in the UFC in 2003, 2004. Yves had called me after we had fought, and he had said, hey, I'm fighting this guy in Japan. He's tall, long, lanky, kind of like you, a little build. He got a little bit of rest. Anyways, I saw him and I chatted. He's like, I flew out to what is it, Woodland Hills, I think, in Texas to help him train. And then, stayed out there for like probably about 10 days to help him train. Was out there for a while, helped him train. When I came back, I was like, that was so cool to learn from his coach, who was predominantly a boxing coach, but it was to get some rounds in with him and work with his coach and get a different idea and different perspective on how I would teach things for myself as well as pick things up. Then I carried on. I started doing that. I used to go help Rob McCullough train for almost all of his fights after I fought him as well. So Rob McCullough and then, Frankie Edgar, when he came out here and trained, I started bouncing from gym to gym, and I just realized that it's like, you can pick up so much knowledge going, even if you're like, they know that they're not going to tell you too much, but just by training.
No, because if there's the possibility they're going to have to fight you, it's like, I'm not going to get to it. But when you've already fought them and there's really not that, they're going to give you everything they, can that they think is going to be good for you. Yeah. And even if it's not everything they know, it's more than you know.
Yeah. I mean, no one ever said you have to use it. Absorb, take in everyone's information and pick and choose what works best for your game. And in those situations, I thought it was phenomenal. I mean, I learned, with Rob McCullough, he didn't really have a coach. It was just him and I working together. And so I learned a lot just from, sparring with him, grappling with him, and then me showing him, me actually teaching him stuff, and then it not working for him. And then him making an adjustment and be like, you know what? I'm going to try it the way that you did the adjustment for yourself. Little things like that go a long way. With Jessica I, though, she needs to stay focused on one place, one direction, and just try to pick, if you need something, pick somebody else's brain within the gym so you're not leaving, so you feel like you have your home. And I feel like you're saying she left Extreme Couture's.
I do not believe she's still there. I could be wrong.
No, I'm not sure. I know she was working with Gray and Eric, I believe.
Wikipedia says Extreme Couture.
Yeah, I mean, she might be with a different coach there out of Extremes then. Anyways.
Yeah. They also say, I think, Chandler's at Alliance, where he hasn't been for how long?
For a long ass time.
Can't go off of him.
Yeah.
But, let's talk about Mr. Chandler.
Let's talk
about Mr. Hooker.
All right. My first initial thoughts were a couple things. I don't know. Dan Hooker came out like he was scared. And I don't know if it was scared or just the filling out process.
I think he was trying to have a feel out process.
Has you not seen any of Chandler's fights? There is no fill out process. Chandler does not have a fill out process.
You would think.
And that's why I said we talked about this for the last 2-3 weeks now. Chandler in a 3-round fight is going to be very hard to beat for all of them. It doesn't matter who it is, and it was like tonight, like you've got to get in his grill and make him blow his wad in that 3-round fight, and it wasn't there when Hooker started setting pace and circling around and trying to figure out what he was going to do. Chandler started, if you looked at the last fight with Benson Henderson, he started now throwing combinations off of his switch stance. So he walks forward as he punches and he changes the direction.
Switches that stance.
Yeah. And he changes the direction in which the punch is coming. And when he does that, it comes from different angles. And so it doesn't matter if you're 6'2" and you're long and lanky, because he's actually closing the distance by stepping in and switching and throwing the power. He's got power in both hands. He does. People handpick his right hand, but guess what? He's got power in that left hand as well. We saw that.
He put out Benson Henderson in his fight before this, and now put out, Poirier. I mean, put out Hooker. That's where the left hand is what put Hooker on the deck. Yeah. So I think the thing to look at here, and everyone's going to say, "Oh, you're a Bellator homer. That's why." No. Yeah. If you looked at the fight, I will tell you this: Michael Chandler is a good fighter. Dan Hooker is a good fighter that did not show how good of a fighter he is in this fight. And he's going to have to figure out what he did wrong. But I do think he gave I don't want to say it was too much respect. I think he was trying to figure out the timing on him, and he kept circling, but nothing was coming Michael Chandler's way. He was giving some feints. He was giving some little movements with his feet that he would come a little bit and make Chandler kind of stop, but there wasn't anything offensive really going towards Chandler, and there had to be something. The low kick he was trying on the calf, it missed. Okay, we'll switch it up. Just keep him at range. At range, you have a great advantage. Why not keep it there and make him feel like it's hard to pass this barrier and get into his range? Yeah. I don't know where the game plan came from, whatever it was, but I know Dan Hooker is a way better fighter than he was able to show in this performance.
John, I'm going to tell you this, and I feel like this is one of those scenarios that I had talked about probably about 3 weeks ago, and I said, these guys in the top 6 in UFC, they have no idea who fucking Michael Chandler is. Want to know why? They don't watch Bellator.
That's okay.
And I'm okay with that. What I'm saying though is this: when all these guys came over from the WC and all these guys came over from Strikeforce and they started winning, it's because those guys in the UFC never cared to pay attention to what they were doing, what the other fighters were doing in their weight class, never realizing that one day they may come over. If you are fighting in the UFC, you need to be you need to be watching every fighter from other organizations, because when they are eventually going to feel like the good ones are going to eventually try to find their way maybe into the UFC. Or in Chandler's situation, Bellator was like, look, you just got knocked out by Patricio and we feel like you've lost your value and you're asking too much money, so let's just let you go. And that's really what happened. It came down to like, he wanted a ton of money. And so when he wanted a ton of money, like, you just lost to our 45-pound champ, go ahead and test the market. He tested the market and he just said, look, we don't want to do this. But my point is back to the Hooker situation. I really feel like these fighters in the top 5, top 8, whatever it is, they don't pay attention to other organizations. In these type of situations, it's going to cost them. It's going to cost them, because guys like Chandler that are going to come over that are just, they're sleeping on, oh, you're older, oh, you're washed up, or oh, you fought in Bellator. They're going to continue to say that. And these type of things are going to happen to them if they don't pay attention.
No, that's true. But let's make something very clear here. Michael Chandler did lose to Patricio. He got knocked out. He got hit behind the ear, which is something that you saw it with Andrew Sanchez tonight. Mm-hmm. Andrew Sanchez was fighting a tough fight. I think he was losing the fight, but it's hit behind the ear, and look at the chicken dance that he was doing, and it put him out of the fight. That can happen to anyone. Yep. But absolutely, Chandler lost to Pitbull. But then he came back and he did a first-round knockout against Sidney Outlaw, and he did a first-round knockout against Benson Henderson. So he has 2 wins in his prior 2 fights to this one that were in Bellator. So he had come back and he had proven himself. It was just, there's difference of opinion on someone's value, and you've got to go with what is best for you. And it was time for Michael to move on. But like I had said on the podcast, and people can sit there and, say I'm a homer, which they normally call you, but I'm not a homer for anyone because of where they fought before. I just know when a guy is good, and I know that Michael Chandler is a good fighter, and he can beat anybody on a given day. Now, I'm not saying he can't be beat, but this is the Michael Chandler that I was talking about. This is the aggressive guy who's got speed, and speed kills. Yeah. He is fast. When he steps on the gas and he pulls that trigger, it's fast, it's powerful, and that is difficult for anyone to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, like, as much as it pains me to say, it says like vinegar coming out of my mouth, he's a good fighter. Yeah. He's a really good fighter, and I've never doubted the fact that he's been a good fighter. People just were trying to do the MMA math, like Will Brooks didn't do well in the UFC, and he beat Chandler.
Matter.
I also said this is different. This is a different era of fighting,
and it's also a different mentality. Yeah, this is what people don't, and I'm not going to get into what happened with Will Brooks, but there is a difference in every human being out there, and if there's one thing that I can guarantee you from Michael Chandler, and we talk about confidence all the time, Michael Chandler does not lack it in any way, shape, or form. And so he's a different athlete going into that organization than some other people were. People talk about, Ben Askren. Ben Askren was a shot fighter as far as he was an older guy. He had a hip that needed to be replaced. He had done all of his fighting. It was over, really. It was a chance for him, and he went out there, did his best. But Michael Chandler is different than both of those guys. He going in, he can beat any of them. Now, the one that I don't think he can beat, I don't see him beating Khabib ever. I think Khabib beats him every day, Monday through Sunday. But everybody else, he can beat. That doesn't mean he will. Dustin Poirier would be, in my opinion, the toughest fight. And I would probably say that I would put Dustin, if that fight happens, he would be the favorite in that fight, in my opinion. Based upon everything he's done and the way he fights and the way that he can carry a fight on, I think Dustin Poirier is the favorite in that fight. But, Michael Chandler can fight with any of them, and he's trained with most of them. They all know.
Yeah.
There's some of the guys in there, they know. That's why those guys weren't taking that fight.
I mean, there's a lot of things that I can say. I really think it comes down to the fact that these guys have no respect for Bellator guys, and I don't think they really pay attention to when there's a Bellator
better start
card.
Respecting everybody.
I don't think that they pay attention. And I think, and I'm go back to I swear to you, I go back to when the WC guys came over. Those guys ended up being the top guys in the 155-pound division and became champions, both of them. You had Benson, you had Pettis, and then like Cerrone was in that mix. Like you had those guys, they just ran through the 155-pound division and became the top guys. And then the Strikeforce guys came over, and sure, we had a couple good guys that made some runs. Pat Healy beat Jim Miller. I beat Nate. What's his name? Beat Diego. Gilbert Melendez beat Diego. Had 2 title fights. I mean, it didn't come to fruition in terms of title, but look at all the other guys that came over from Strikeforce that won titles. My point is that they didn't know who those guys were. They had never really done research into watching them fight. They never went and watched them live fight. And when everyone came over, it affected their performance. Like, oh, I got this. Oh, a little bit of that. I don't want to say overconfidence, just like, I'm in the UFC, I got this. And I think that's kind of the vibe and the feeling. When Dan Hooker got in there tonight, I didn't see a confident person. The look on his face when that fight started, you got Chandler smiling and laughing and sitting down in that little crouching tiger, hidden dragon position, and looking across the cage. Chandler looked confident, but he never is.
Yes, he did.
He always has that.
Doesn't lack it
at all. Dan Hooker had that look on his face like, this little motherfucker's coming after me. And look at him. And he's stalking him. He was stalking him in that cage. He always does. You should have known and seen and been prepared for him to do that. He never starts off slow, ever. I don't understand. Like your process should have been calf kick, push kick, calf kick, push kick to the face. Keep your distance. Make things like that happen. Jumping, flying knees, things like that to make him stay away from you and keep distance. It was never there. He never got started. He never had a chance to get started.
Well, I think Hooker was concerned with bringing the kicks up based upon the wrestling. He looked at that Chandler wants to take him down. I don't want to give him the leg. I don't want it to be where he's timing that kick. So I can kind of understand it, but you at least have to make him stop that progression forward. You got to make him earn coming towards you or pay for coming towards you. And that's what I didn't see. But you got to give it to Michael Chandler. Everyone can sit there and say whatever they want. All the pressure, all of the things that people were talking about. And I heard Chael saying, oh, you know what? Going in there, the pressure, Hooker's going to win that fight. All this stuff. Nope. Took the pressure, took all the stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's a fucking cage.
Yeah.
Okay. You can call it whatever they want. You're only fighting the one person standing across from you.
I'm going to take a little bit of the Chael side though, is that I was concerned about the pressure of him having to go there. Big contract.
I know we talked about it, but I was putting Chael on the spot, not you.
It's okay, but I'm going to jump on the Chael bandwagon in this situation. Look, I can call my own bullshit, not my bullshit, but my own shit out. Like, it's true. I really was like, man, first off, it comes down to the money. It's like you get paid that amount of money, you know that there's pressure on you to perform. And that him being a competitor, he's thinking, shit, if I don't perform, they're going to be thinking they're overpaying me. They're going to try to release me. And then where am I going to go? Bellator? No, I'm not going back there. Where am I going to go now? I'm going to go over to one and fight in Asia. Like that ain't like, those are the things that are going through his mind for the amount of money that he's making. And so I think I think he did put some pressure on him. But what I did like though, is I like how he came out smiling. He came out like, you know what? I'm glad to be here. I'm finally here. And now it's just up to me to get it done. And I mean, up until the last week, I thought Hooker was an easy fight for him up until this last week. But then I started watching some of the old Hooker fights, going into this week. And I'm like, no, this is not. I think Dan Hooker's got a good chance of beating him. I was telling myself, like, he's going to beat him. He's going to hit him with that knee, or he's going to stick the jab in his face. He never got started. John. It looked like he was scared.
Well, that was the one thing that everyone that asked me, I said, the one thing that Chandler, in my opinion, really needs to be careful of, he's got to watch the knee coming up the middle.
Yeah.
Because Hooker throws it without he's not telegraphing it at all. He's just standing there, all of a sudden it's coming up. It's fast, it's efficient, he times it well. That was the one strike that I said he can knock him out with that. Mm-hmm. I didn't see Dan Hooker knocking Mike out with his hands. I didn't see the kicks being it. I saw the knee being a real problem, that Mike could duck his head down and hit one of those knees as it's coming up. And that could happen to anyone. But, I think this opens things up. It's a beautiful thing that has happened here. I think now you have a couple of different matchups that you can make. There's some things to look at. Who knows what the matchmaking will be, but
let me tell
Michael Chandler now entering the, you got to say, where was Hooker at 6?
Yeah, he was at 6.
So then Michael Chandler's number 6.
No, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you right now. Everyone at home,
hear it.
Let's
hear it.
Just call me Mystic Thompson.
I'm
going to tell you
Josh.
right now.
I
thought if he didn't have a good performance, or if he had a good performance and still won, they were going to give him Justin Gaethje. But then now that he's knocked out Hooker, and Conor has lost, and Tony is in number 5 there. What I'm saying is that you're going to go Chandler and Dustin Poirier for the title. The amount of money they're paying Chandler and Dustin having a great performance.
Hold it. Before you go, I love what you're saying, but now you're telling me that Khabib is not going to fight after that performance. He's not going to come back like Dana was talking about.
So I'm also watching the presser right now while we're live, and Dana just said that Khabib said to him right after the show, "Be honest with yourself, Dana. I'm levels above these guys."
Yeah,
and kind of implied that he is probably not gonna.
Yeah. It's true. Look.
You gotta.
I have a thing about. I don't really like Chandler. Okay, but the thing is that Khabib has
such a hater there, Josh.
Khabib has the remedy for him. Look, I said good things about him tonight. He had a good performance. I thought he fought a great fight. He came out with a good confidence, and he came out smiling and laughing, and that lets me know that he's relaxed enough to go out there and perform, and he did. But I think what they're going to do is they're going to give Chandler Dustin Poirier now for the title because they're paying him a lot of money. And so that's why they're going to give him a shot at the title. Those two guys will fight. Justin Gaethje now will probably fight who was that? Probably Charles Oliveira. They're not going to there's no one else really in that mix for them to fight. I wanted to see.
You said Justin Gaethje is going to fight Conor.
Oh, sorry, Conor. I mean, I say Charles.
All right, so now this is my question to you.
Yeah.
So who is Charles Oliveira going to fight?
I think they're going to wait. I think they're going to wait until after Chandler and Dustin fight and give him the winner.
Yeah, I'm gonna disagree with you. You could be right, but I say Dustin Poirier fights Charles Oliveira for the title.
Okay. I think with the knockout that Dan Hooker had, I don't think so. I think
I don't think they're going to give Chandler that title fight after one victory, and I think you're right about the Justin Gaethje versus Conor McGregor. Yeah. I think that fight's going to happen.
Yeah,
but we've just learned some things that need to take place if that fight's going to happen. But I think Justin Gaethje versus Conor McGregor. I think Dustin Poirier versus Charles Oliveira for the title, and I think the fight that they wanted to make in the past is going to happen now with Michael Chandler against Tony Ferguson.
Coming off a loss, 2 losses.
Coming off of 2 losses doesn't matter. Again, he's only been in the UFC for one fight.
I know, but
it was an impressive performance. So now show me that impressive performance once again against Tony Ferguson, and then we'll talk about title.
That's not a good fight for Tony Ferguson. I'm just saying,
that from the beginning.
Coming off 2 losses in terms of
especially with speed,
with the confidence and the speed.
And speed is the big difference.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I could see them doing Conor and Justin because it is a stand-up fight.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And then, but the one thing that I don't know if they're taking this consideration is that Justin kicks really fucking hard.
Oh, yes. That's the one thing I was just talking about when I said there's something I got to take into consideration. Conor has turned into a boxer.
Yeah.
Boxing is one element of MMA, and if it's what you bring as your main element, you're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you saw tonight. He, not one time, Josh, not one time did he use what is one of his most effective tools that you have watched him use consistently throughout his career.
I love that weapon.
That freaking toe kick to the solar plex, toe kick, push kick, ball kick, whatever a lot of guys call it, different things, is an effective strike. And it's a beautiful long distance jab. It keeps people at range. It makes them think about what's coming their way. It takes the air out of them in short little bursts. It punches a hole in the gas tank. It is a great tool. And how many times did he throw it tonight?
I didn't see it one time.
Zero.
Yep.
Zero. Crazy.
Yeah, it's for me it's just crazy the fact that he has fallen into line with Jose Aldo. They had
it's a good comparison.
They had nasty kicks and they just got away from them and they became boxers, and the next thing you know, their chins are getting touched.
Well, and it limits who you are as that offensive fighter. It now makes you an easier opponent for the guy you're fighting. Yeah. Why would you do that?
Yeah,
you fall in love with your hands. Don't fall in love with your hands. Fall in love with the sport of MMA and all of the tools that it allows you to use during competition. And if you have all of those tools in that toolbox and you're able to pull them out at different times and utilize that tool, that makes you a very difficult person to deal with. When you are only coming at me with one skill set, you become a much easier person for me to deal with.
Do I make excuses for Conor McGregor? Should I? I want to make a couple excuses for him. I mean, not in terms of that he needs them, but I'm just simply saying people need to understand that he's a changed man.
No doubt about it.
He's got a baby on the way. He's got 2 kids already. You see the way he was.
This is what life will do.
You see the way he's acted at the presser. You see the way he's acted at the weigh-ins. I don't want to say this too much. He touched on a little bit too. The inactivity maybe was the key. I honestly believe he's just a different person. I don't want to be a negative Nancy. I think he's done fighting. I don't think he has that killer instinct anymore. He's a multi-millionaire. I think there's other things that are definitely in his mind. Don't get me wrong. He's still talented. I mean, like, he can still probably beat the top 4 or 5 guys. I mean, like, I think really he's in a happy place right now. And you saw it all week.
Josh, this loss is different than every other loss he's had.
Yeah.
Every loss that he's had has been by what?
Submission.
All of them. And so it was always that, well, there's that over there. It's not that someone has hurt him. And you could see the first time when Dustin hit him, it stunned him. And that was in the first round. And then when in that second round, you saw right away when he had his back up against the cage and he got hit. I'm trying to remember if it was the left hand straight, and you could see it stiffened him. And I went, oh, he's hurt.
Yeah.
And then it just started, rolling downhill. But he's never been in that position where he's been knocked out. Yeah. Even in the stupid boxing match with Floyd, Floyd never put him down.
Yeah.
And, the referee, Bob Bird, stopped the fight. Okay, that's great. He should have. But Floyd never put him down. Dustin knocked him out.
Let me touch a little bit so I don't get too much into Conor making excuses for him. But I'm going to say that Mike Brown, I was watching the 24/7 special on whatever it was.
Yeah, you talked about it.
And I got to tell you, one thing that Mike Brown touched on was that he is more durable at 155 than he was at 145.
No doubt about it, because
tonight proved it.
he got hit by some good shots.
Yeah.
And he got hurt. You could see when he got hurt, but he was able to take his distance, maintain a little bit of time to get himself back, snap it back, and then continue on with what he was doing.
Yeah.
That's the difference between being a healthy, hydrated fighter at 155 pounds going up to 170 pounds and a guy that has just crushed himself to get to that 145. Not enough fluids being able to get back into him that are sticking the right way. He's just a better fighter by far at 155.
Yeah.
This is that whole thing of why, everyone, if you go down to the smaller weight class, you'll be even bigger and better. Bullshit. It is just not that way. For some guys, it is.
Yeah, Max
Holloway.
Holloway.
For a lot, it's not. Yep.
You have guys that use that length, that reach and range, and the speed of which you can throw the amount of punches. If you can still perform the way Max does at a lower weight, have at it. But it works for him because that body style that we've talked about many times, he fits that body style for 145. He doesn't fit that body style for 155. He's not
the bigger, longer guy.
He's not the bigger, taller, like you said, longer guy. He is the guy that basically is the same size as all the other ones. He's smaller than Conor. He's smaller than, he's about the same size as Dustin. I mean, like Dustin's thicker. I think possesses a little bit more power, and we saw that when they fought in the second time in the 155. I can't make any. The excuses that I'm going to make for Conor just strictly have to do with life, not in terms of that. In terms of like tonight, it was just Dustin's night. Dustin did the better job of implementing his game plan. The calf kicks, right off the bat when he got the takedown and then pressed him to the fence.
That calf kick was huge.
But then just dirty boxing and making Conor use energy in the clinch. I've said this since the beginning of Conor when he started fighting. First time I saw him fight Nate Diaz, I was like, all you got to really do is press him to the fence, make it a dirty, grimy fight, and it'll take some of that pressure. Sorry, not the Nick Diaz fight, the Nate Diaz fights, the Chad Mendes fight. He didn't have the same pop in that fight. The reason why that fight ended up going as well as it did is because Chad was so damn exhausted. But Conor
was he exhausted?
From trying to wrestle so much. Not Conor. I'm talking about Chad. Chad.
Yeah, and from getting hit to the body.
The toe kick.
Hello.
The toe kick. Well, he was tired because he had 10 days, but to prepare for the fight.
Yeah, well, that was
one of the reasons. But no, overall, to me, I feel like, look, Conor he's done a lot in this short period of time that he's been in the sport. I was in the sport for 20 years, accomplished maybe a fraction of what that guy has done. So I got to tip my hat to him and everything he's done. But I really think as a fighter, unless he decides to stop doing all of his other stuff, dial back on the whiskey, dial back on August McGregor clothing line, dial back on all the other stuff he's got going on and focus back on fighting like he used to, he won't ever be the same fighter again. It's nothing bad. It's nothing bad. It's like it's not bad, but he's done everything he should have done.
I can break this down for you because you've been in the same positions.
I wish I had been in his situation.
Well, money wise, maybe a little different.
Yeah.
I want you to think about this. No, because it's the truth. When you're a young man and it's all you have, as far as you have the girlfriend, but you don't have the family.
Yeah.
You don't have the wife. You don't have the kids, and you're fighting. Well, it's your mistress. Yeah. It's what you go to, and you enjoy it, and you don't have anything else. All you have is the fighting. You go to practice in the morning. You go and work out. You do that. You go home. You eat lunch. You maybe take a nap. You go back to the gym. You do your night practice, you go back home, you eat something, and if you have to, you do some cardio, and then you go to sleep and you do it all over the next day.
Yeah.
If you have the girlfriend, maybe you do something in between the meal, the cardio, and the sleep. But that's really all you do. There's nothing else that you have your attention placed upon. But when you become this guy like Conor and you have all of these different things in front of you, you have the suit line, you have the proper 12, you have all of these things, the Netflix things or whatever it is that you're trying to come up with for the next thing. Those are taking hours, minutes, days, whichever way you want to look at it. It's taking your attention away from fighting, and it's putting it there. And eventually what you do is you start segmenting your life into the point where there's weeks that you don't even think about fighting. You don't even do anything about fighting. You don't really even train fighting because you're doing all these other things while all of your opponents are doing what? They're taking care of business and they're in the gym and they're learning and they're going and they're trying to, get better. It becomes a part-time job for you. When you have the fight, you go to the gym and you train. It's not the same. And it's just a difference that in the end, the results show exactly how committed you are to the sport.
Yeah, you hit it the nail on the head. Training and fighting is like your mistress. You wake up in the morning, you go bang her out, you come back home, you eat a little meal, you go back over and bang her out again.
There you go.
Back home and eat
I wasn't going to say it that way, but that's exactly
Someone's got to be honest with our fans. Someone's got to tell them the truth. Look, overall, if Conor's going to continue, I think they're going to give him Justin Gaethje next. Now, what makes that fight more interesting, sure, Justin Gaethje has great kicks, and he's got heavy, hard kicks, but he's also right-handed. So those kicks will not be affecting the inside or his calf as much as the ones that were affecting it tonight. And I think that's really what the story of the tale was tonight as far as this fight, is that he legit, because he fought another southpaw, that lead leg is out there and available to be kicked the way that it normally be for somebody else if we were both conventional fighters. So Justin's going to have to kick the inside of the leg. Conor checks that kick a lot better, that inside leg kick. If Justin's going to throw those leg kicks, he's going to have to switch stance to kick the outside of the calf. So given that type of scenario, it becomes a boxing match. I just don't know if Conor being what Conor is now, the focus, if it's going to be the same. Like, he got clipped tonight, and we've never seen that happen to him. The movement he looked good a little bit, but he just didn't look as clean and crisp as he normally does.
He didn't look comfortable.
No.
He did not look near as, one of the things when you watch Conor and you watch him fight, most of the time, he looks just comfortable. It was of every fight that, I ever did of his, that Eddie Alvarez fight, I never saw a guy look so comfortable in a fight. Never. It was like, there was nothing that he couldn't do in there. There was that comfort factor. And if you watched him against Dustin tonight, he was moving himself, but there were times he didn't look comfortable at all.
Yeah. And
he looked out of position, which is not normal for him. And even when he would set up the counter, it was there and he would short stroke it and not throw it. And you go, oof, it was there. And that's a huge part of his game. I think that the layoff, no matter what Dominic Cruz will tell you, it does affect different fighters in different ways. And not having that, ability to be in the cage for a year, it's been basically a year.
Yeah.
It's too long for him. He needs to be in the cage. He needs to be in the gym. He needs to put all of his attention on the fight game if he wants to be a world champion fighter again.
If I was him, I would just walk away.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that, and I wouldn't blame him. And
I wouldn't blame him either.
Hey, thanks for everything you did for the sport. Thank you for elevating things. Thank you for bringing fighter pay up. All of those things, you'll be missed.
This is going to sting, though. This one's going to sting for a while.
Oh, this one's going to – look, I told you, the big difference in this one is, Josh, he got knocked out.
Yeah.
This is a big one. This one hurts him.
Yeah, this is huge. I think that – this is gonna I don't know if it's gonna affect everything he does outside the cage.
That part is
matter. Yeah, it does, because it does affect your businesses. Not in terms of the businesses you already have.
Let me ask you this: what's his businesses? We'll just say the two that we talked about.
One is whiskey.
Right?
One is whiskey.
Uh-huh. Is it gonna alter that? Nope, not in the least.
I believe that things like the August McGregor clothing line, look, I'm not saying in terms of what it is, it's not going to end up opening any more. It won't end up opening any more bigger deals.
There you go.
That's my point. So yes, it is affecting your business deals, But as far as in terms of, are they going to get bought as much? I don't know. I mean, who's to say now? Someone said they watched him get knocked out. Now all of a sudden when they go in the liquor store and they see proper 12, they're like, I'll go to the next one. Who knows? You don't know what people's mindsets are. You've seen how these fans are. They're fickle. You know.
We're all fickle people.
I mean, if you listen to them, man, I'm a homer and it's all this other stuff. So it's I think for me personally, is if I was him, I would just walk away. Like you've done it all. Your mindset in your life is at a different position now than it was when you were hungry. Like he's hungry in terms of business ventures now, not fighting. And I really feel like, and I don't like to stroke Dana, too much because he's already got a big enough bald head. But Dana, one thing he's someone that is focused on being a businessman in terms of closing that next deal. And Conor is kind of fallen into that, like he's hungry in terms of, he had mentioned a couple of deals that he had worked on our show that we had to edit out. But it's like, those are things that, that he's pushing for that. He's pushing for this. And his management's doing the best they can to get him as much as they possibly can. And that happening, like his mind is going probably 1,000 miles in other directions, focusing on everything else but fighting. And this is not, and we've said this 1,000 times, this is not something you can be part-time at. You're either all in or you're all out. And it's
the
hard.
whole point right there.
It's hard, man. It's hard to be somebody like that, as successful as he has been and not make it your focus. I mean, we started seeing that a little bit with pro boxers. You look at pro boxers, right? Manny Pacquiao. He started running for Congress. He started doing all this stuff in his own country, and it just started distracting him. He started losing. He didn't look as clean and as crisp as he used to before. Floyd Mayweather, I don't know how much, what other business ventures he has outside of just being a multi-millionaire. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. Like, I know he's got the TMT, the money team, or whatever it is, but like,
what is that? That's part of his boxing
That's part of his boxing world. Like, do you own anything else? I don't even know if he does.
I'm sure he has investments, but he's not the guy like Conor is out front.
Yeah.
For whatever it is he is.
Well, let's talk about that real quick. And look, I want to make sure that Dustin gets his due, but I'm like Dave does podcast. Dave, he works for a distributing company. What's the name of the company?
I don't want to say.
Okay. I'm sorry. Gosh, your company's real proud.
Whoa, we were trying.
So, anyways,
trying to
give your company a pop in business, but I get
again.
it. So anyways,
remember that half I talked about, Josh?
Yes, yeah.
Now it's now cut again.
Quarter.
Now it's a quarter.
So he works for this company, and this company said, look, we have seen like the results in terms of Conor McGregor. George Clooney had a tequila. He ended up selling it for like $1 billion, a little over $1 billion, whatever it was. But George never went to these like Bevmo and stuff and did autograph signings or distributed the liquor. He was never there. He's like, fuck no, I'm George Clooney. Screw you guys.
He's an investor in that. And
Conor McGregor, in podcast Dave was here telling us, he's like, hey, literally like Conor McGregor is there at the Bevmo, signing autographs, taking pictures, shaking hands, like pushing his own brand. He's one of the but he's one of the owners of his company that is out there doing all the legwork to make sure that his brand is successful. Other brands just just takes time. Commitment and time.
Commitment, time, effort.
Yeah.
All of those things that take away from the fight game.
But also the things that you put into the fight game as well. It's like sacrifice and all that, right? Like,
you
didn't have to do that for the whiskey, but it paid off. And I think that's a testament to how committed he was to his
Turn your mic
career.
up. I can barely hear you.
There
you go. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I just and I very rarely want to hear you, but it was good. It was good. But no, like you got to give the guy his due. He's got all these other things that he's working on, but he's actually there trying to push his brand and make sure that it's popular. Anyways, I think that it would be good if he just decided to move on to something else that he's passionate about. He's passionate about business. When we had the interview with him, this last Thursday, not yesterday, but last Thursday, or two days ago. Anyways, it just simply is that he talked, when we brought up some other deal, I said, what else are you working on? He brought it up, and that energy in his face, like, I'm working on this, I'm doing this. And he had a lot to say about it. The fight is the fight, but this is not a sport that you're one leg in, one leg out. You're either all the way in or you're all the way out. This is the hurt business. You're gonna get hurt. And tonight, he got hurt. He got hurt tonight.
He got hurt.
And so, and I'm afraid that like you do any more damage to yourself, you could start hurting your businesses. Like losing like this one time. Okay, look, I'm going to move on and just focus on my businesses. I get it. But losing like this another time, and then it just starts kind of hurting your business ventures out there. Oh no, you've lost. People care about you because you're a top fighter, But when the fighting goes away, some of those investment people will start going away as well. Him might be a little bit different because he is he's worth almost $300 or $400 million now, something like that. I think is what Forbes had him at. He's worth a couple million. I want to say 300 million. He's worth, I think, 300 million is what they said. So that being said, I mean, like those business ventures will start to probably fall off. He goes out there and has another performance like he did tonight, And so that's just the reality of it. I understand. But to go back to Dustin, did everything right. He
smart.
Mike Brown had
game plan.
Brilliant game plan. And we talked about this last week. I said, look, I got to make sure that Dustin's getting his due when we did the podcast last week on a midweek show. I said, because everybody has been talking about Conor McGregor. We had Conor McGregor on. We talked about Conor. Then the next time we had talked about Conor. The time before that, we had talked about Conor. We talked about Dustin, but we paintbrushed it.
We talked about getting Dustin on the podcast.
Yeah, I tried, yeah.
He was already on his way to
Abu
Dhabi. So, obviously we love Dustin. He's a great guy. I love everything that, he stands for. I love the way he does his charity foundation thing that he's doing. But I will give Conor credit. $500,000 went right to Dustin's charity thing. I think that was supposedly today they got a thing. So good on Conor for putting money towards Dustin's charity. But Dustin Poirier is a fighter. He did say something tonight, though, and it's just the truth. He goes, "I don't like fighting anymore, but I'm a bad motherfucker."
Dustin said that.
Yeah.
Okay, I missed the post-fight interview because I was on my way down to the studio, so I bounced out right from the.
No, it was right after the fight, and he leaned over to the commentary table, and they repeated what he said.
Yeah.
So, you look and you go, "Yeah, it's about that time."
Yeah.
It's about that time where it's starting. It's no longer that thing that, oh man, this sets me on fire. This is what I want to do. I love this. And it's a job.
Wow.
It's work. It sucks at times, but you're good at it. So you continue to do it. And Dustin Poirier, he's good at it, man. Take a look at the people that Dustin has fought in just his last, we'll say 8 fights, maybe 9 fights. Come on, Eddie Alvarez twice, right? Max Holloway, freaking, obviously now Conor McGregor. I'm trying to think. He lost to Khabib, I know, in that, but he beat Justin Gaethje in that. Anthony Pettis, Dan Hooker. I mean, come on, man. He has just absolutely fought a freaking just a lion's den of bad motherfuckers, one after the other. And really, I think in the last, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 fights, the only one that's beaten him is Magomedov. That's it.
I'm going to throw a little wrench in the conversation here. I think if Conor decides to step away or just be like, you know what, maybe it's just not me anymore, that they're going to give Chandler to Justin Gaethje, and then Charles Oliveira, like you were saying, is going to fight for the title.
Oh, you changed it. You like?
No,
you forgot about Charles. You did.
I didn't forget about it because remember I brought him up, but remember to fight Justin over Chandler or Conor. I said Justin, and I'm just talking gibberish. We started going into this whole thing. Look, I think a lot of it depends on whether Conor steps away or not. If Conor steps away, then I think they're going to give Chandler to Justin Gaethje, and then Charles Oliveira will fight Dustin Poirier. If Conor doesn't step away, then I think that Chandler's going to fight for the title, and they're going to give Conor to Justin, and then I think Charles is going to fight after that.
Dana already said in the post fight he kind of likes Chandler Poirier for the title.
Woo!
Go ahead, everybody. I want you guys all to.
Look at the big brain on
Mystic
John.
Thompson, baby, Mystic Thompson.
We'll see.
I mean, it really just comes down to both of them had performances on the same night. It makes it easier and more marketable.
That's why he's talking about.
Yeah, it's like both of them had both good enough performances.
That's because he's not remembering this guy over here, named Charles Oliveira, who had a really good performance against a guy named Tony Ferguson.
But he didn't finish him.
He did acknowledge.
But he didn't finish him.
He did finish him.
Oh, sorry, he did. You're right, he did.
No, he didn't, but he did.
No, he did not.
No, he didn't. But that arm bar.
Yeah, he didn't finish him. He didn't finish him.
No, Tony made it through the round because of when the arm bar happened.
I was thinking
was going to go.
Justin Gaethje and him. No, they're gonna. I think, like I said, they're gonna give. Here's Poirier and Chandler makes sense because they both fought the same night and they both had knockouts, and people will remember that they both fought on the same card and they both had knockouts. So just turn around and make it more marketable and be like, hey, these guys now are going to fight in, because they both got them early knockouts. They're going to fight now in 3 months. Watch. It's going to happen just so they can book this in March, April, May. I would say probably in May. Somewhere around there, because they want to just stack. They're stacking. They've got a lot of good fights coming up. Stacked cards coming up.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Come on, man. They have, this was 257. 258 is a good card. I'm not going to say that. 259 is just stacked. And now they just came out with the 260 that they have Stipe and Ngannou. And what's the other fight that's on that? They have another one that's fantastic. It's gonna be fun.
Volkanovski
and Brian Ortega.
Brian Ortega. Thank you very much. Hello.
Yeah, they've got some good, and then you've got Izzy going up to weight, to Jan.
That's
in March. That's in March, correct?
I think.
Yeah, March 6th.
Well, what's the one that's next month?
You have Usman Burns.
Usman versus Burns is in February 13th.
And the Blackwoods out of Sun.
Then March 6th is the triple championship, Izzy versus Jan and all those.
Yeah.
Then that's Volkanovski against Ortega, and then Stipe against Ngannou.
And then March is Chimaev and Edwards. And then Holland and Brunson. And then, March is pretty stacked. We got 4 fights.
Yeah, baby.
5. Yeah, that's crazy, man. It's gonna be they're gonna be busy. Gonna be busy.
Did you guys see Patricio Pitbull's tweet just now? No, last hour.
Let me guess.
The video of him knocking out Chandler.
No, he says, my son Michael Chandler will be easily the next UFC champion.
That's beautiful.
Oh, geez,
come on, you gotta love that guy, man.
And Mike Chandler in his post fight has also just said that if he can pull Khabib out of retirement, Khabib will become 29 in Chandler.
Here's the thing. I said this a couple of weeks ago. I think it was his interviews are cringeworthy, and his post fight interview was cringeworthy.
Oh, his post fight interview was great.
It was
lame. It was great.
You're like WWF stuff. It was lame.
And I don't like WWF, but I remember Ric Flair.
I love
saying that basic same shtick, and I was like, "Oh my God, he stole what? He just forgot the woo."
Thank God. I'm sorry. I just don't have anything. Like when they start when Chael used to do that shit, I was like, Chael.
It was the one thing that I loved off of DC. Man. DC being the freaking wrestling nut that he is with pro wrestling, he knew, and he started talking about it.
So dumb. I can't. We're in a real sport here. What is this garbage, you guys? Anyways, I think it's gonna be. I really do believe it's gonna be Chandler and Poirier. Oliveira will wait for the winner, and then you'll have, if Conor's there, it'll be Conor and Dustin. I think if Conor's not there, it'll be Gaethje and Oliveira. You got that?
No, you're making no sense. You said it's going to be Conor and Dustin.
Not Dustin, Justin. Justin's screwing me up, man.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Do you know the difference between a D and a J?
Well, you keep getting me. We're just spinning wheels here right now. You're getting me every time. Getting me every time. You got to slow down with my CT. But overall, I thought the 2 fights that they paid the most for lived up to the hype.
Yeah.
Which was good. It's good for them.
They both delivered.
Yeah, they both delivered.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on Bellator did a hype video for Chandler right before this fight, and I thought it was a little bit strange. It was a bit of a gamble as well, because if he lost, you'd have kind of been like,
No,
I gamble.
I actually talked to them about it. I'm like, why have we been posting so much stuff on Chandler? And they're like, well, look, everyone knows he's been a Bellator fighter since the beginning.
Yeah.
It would be really foolish of us to go out there and post a bunch of shit of him getting knocked out. It just doesn't make sense. It's very belittling as well. Like it makes you look small.
It makes you,
which is
exactly.
I would have thought they would have taken the no approach. Just, not, like whatever.
I don't look at it that way at all. And this is the way I look at it. And I haven't talked to anybody about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea they were going to do it. But I look at it as this is a sport. Michael Chandler, as a fighter, did a great job for Bellator.
Mm-hmm.
He represented him very well for a lot of years. He fought his ass off for him. And so he's going to go fight in another promotion against one of their big fighters. And why not show what he's done in the past?
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to do anything bad for you. If he does lose, well. If he does win, it just shows you, look what he did over here, and now he can do it over there too.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. Why do you have to be the nasty one? Why do you have to go and show things like, oh, that guy got knocked out here? Come on, grow up.
Yeah, I thought though as a business they would have taken the no approach, just like not post anything. I mean, everyone knew that he came from Bellator. A lot of not the casual didn't know, but I mean, it's been in the media, and then they announced him actually as the former Bellator champion. You know what I mean? So I would have thought that they would have just kind of taken the no approach. But I back what you were saying though. I think like you were saying, he was one of the original guys there. He had some great fights while he was there. You know, and he had his ups and downs, and but he's doing it now.
As fighters do.
But he's doing it now in a new promotion. I really felt like he had done everything he needed to do in that organization. It was time for him to move on.
I thought it was a good move for him.
Yeah, I thought it was just stale. I think it was stale. Like he started fighting the same guys over and over. The Patricio thing was a situation where Patricio, they had bad blood. But other than that, that fight would have never have happened otherwise.
No, and that's also because he knocked, Patricio's brother out.
Yeah, Patrici.
In the last fight and beat him twice.
Yeah, and I think it was just one of those, like, it became a stale situation. It was good for him to get changed. I think when, like, you see that sometimes when people just need to get somewhere else. You see it in NBA, you see it in football. Like, okay, look, I've been here for 15 years, or I've been here for 10 years. I got to go somewhere else. Rejuvenate me, make me feel good. And I think it was a good opportunity and good time for him to go. And if you look at those guys in that top 55-pounder, a lot of them are stand-up guys. And so he can stand up, but he can wrestle like a mother,
yes,
and so that gives him, I feel like when people are criticizing him up until you get to Khabib, none of those guys can wrestle at his level.
No.
None of them.
No. Well, people are going to say Justin Gaethje
No
can't.
way.
No,
we saw that Justin can't wrestle at his
people
level.
are going to say that. And no, they cannot wrestle at his level. The one guy that can out wrestle him, in my opinion, MMA wrestling especially, is Khabib.
Yeah.
Khabib, he's in a different. My one thing that's sad about, today, is today tells me that I'm not going to see Khabib Nurmagomedov fight anymore.
No, you won't.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
I said that a while ago.
It's a shame.
I don't like you, Dave just said when Dana said, like when Khabib walked by Dana and said, "Let's be honest, none of these guys are on my level." He's 100% right.
Yeah.
None of them. How does Charles? I would only say the only guy that I feel like has a chance. Don't get me wrong. Chandler got a little bit of a chance because of the knockout power. Everyone when got the knockout
anyone
power.
Can be touched and put out.
And Charles got the submission. That are the opportunities there. But he's got to. It's got to be one of those things where you just catch him in a transition, and while the takedown's happening, or while something's going on, you catch him in the scramble and you're able to knock him out. Like, it's going to happen like that. It's not going to happen just a straight right down the pipe. The reason why I would say Chandler had a little bit more of a chance than majority of them is because Chandler's got a good hard right hand that comes right down the pipe. And we saw with the Conor fight when he fought Conor, and we've seen with other fighters that he's fought Michael Johnson. When they're fast and they throw straight, they land. Khabib's taking some big shots, and with the Michael Johnson situation, he got a little, I wouldn't say he got rocked, but he got a little stumbled.
Oh, he got rocked.
Yeah, you know, like
I was in there with him. He got rocked.
He got clipped pretty hard. And then same thing with the Conor thing. He got hit with some good straight lefts in that fight. You know, and Chandler's got the power to hurt him. It's just a matter if he could finish him or not, and if he can out wrestle him or not. I don't think he can, especially in a 5-round fight. I think it's just going to get worse for him as the fight goes on. But I don't think Khabib has any desire to fight any of those guys. None. I think tonight with his comments, I think it makes sense.
And he also just put a post 10 minutes ago, and he said, "You can like him or hate him, but you have to respect him. This guy built the sport. Thank you for everything, Dana. I have so much respect for you." And so now there's speculation that that's a retirement post.
Yeah, I think he's done. I mean, realistically, like, and when he said something last week, he said, "Don't make me do anything that will upset my mother." You know, he said that fighting's not in my near future. He also said that too in a post. It's like,
okay,
I think he's done. You know, and I thought that a while back, but I thought maybe something would spark his interest, somebody that rose up. But I don't think he saw anything tonight that would really get him. I know that sure the knockouts were there, but he's already beaten Dustin. He's already beaten Conor. He's already beaten Justin Gaethje. He beat them all handily, you know. And I mean, really, like Chandler is kind of like the only guy that kind of in Oliveira that he hasn't fought and he hasn't beaten. But like let them be there for a while and let the dust settle, I guess, and then we'll see if he comes. But I don't think he will. I think he's done.
He could always come back.
He could, but I think he's done. I mean, it's hard, but look at the Conor situation. You go away, you come back, you go away, come back. You can't keep doing that forever. No. You know, and then your performance is like, it's a gradual climb. It continues to you work on this sport forever. You get better every day. You go to the gym, 1% better every day. And
it's not 1%, but it's a small percentage. You know,
yeah, you're hoping it's 1%.
Yeah, 1% is fantastic, but you're right. It's those little tiny increments that continue to make you better and better. And when you're not doing it, everyone else is catching you.
Yeah,
you know, because it's not like you're staying still. You're not. Yeah. You're going backwards.
The thing is with Khabib, he will. Excuse me.
Oh,
I know. It's not even as late for me as it is for you.
Not even close.
Dave's yawning now too. He caught my yawn. My yawn.
Here comes John's.
Yeah. But the thing with Khabib though, if he does come back, I do know that he never stops training. He's training with Islam. He's training with the other Islam, Mamedov. I don't know how to say his last name.
Umar, Usman.
And then Usman. But there's another Islam, Mamedov, that fights in PFL. He's training with all those guys that are over. He's got a bunch of guys that are making their way into the bigger shows. And so he's constantly training with all those guys. He's got a bunch of younger talent too that he's trying to build up and get going as well. So I think his focus now is, I don't want to say it's to take his dad's place in terms of running the team.
I think it is.
But it kind of is. I think it kind of is. I think he's kind of put that onto his shoulders.
I think that's exactly the biggest part of everything. Yes, his mom, saying, "Hey, I would like you to stop it," and I understand why his mom wants to stop. But I think it's now, well, my dad was the coach, and he's not here. I'm going to take that spot. And I think that's a big thing with all of those guys that he has, and now not only is he a coach, he's a translator too.
He's really good too.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, I guess we can just wait until the dust settles, but I want everyone to understand they heard it here first. It's going to be Chandler and Poirier for the title. Thank you.
We'll very much. See.
Thank you very much.
But I will say,
yes.
I want you to think about this. I told everybody, Josh, and you got to back me up on this. MyBookie.com had Conor at -310, and I think Dustin Poirier was a +230.
Yep.
And I said, put your money on Dustin Poirier.
Yep.
Did I not?
Yes, you did.
So if you were smart enough to go to mybookie.ag or .com and place a bet, or at least even get an account where they gave you that 50% extra. So you put $100, you now have $150, and you put that on Dustin Poirier. You put $150 on Dustin Poirier, you would have walked away with close to $400 in winnings. God bless America.
John, did you forget the bet you told him to take the week before?
Don't even talk about those in the past. Don't count. They don't count at all.
Why are you living in the past, Josh? What do you keep bringing that? That's the past, Josh. Don't bring that up.
Don't ever bring up a loss.
I love it. I love it. Yes, that is true. I was actually, it's so funny. I was looking at my bookies, the odds right before the main card started. I'm like, let's just throw down $100 on Dustin and see what happens. But then I was, you know what went through my mind? I was like, man, we just had Conor on. I feel like that's almost like you're slapping somebody in the face with you.
Yeah.
You know, because I never, not that we're friends at all, but it's like, I just don't bet on, I guess I don't bet on people that I know. I don't bet on people that that are my friends. I definitely don't bet on my teammates. I almost feel like it's a jinx. But it went through my mind. It did go through my mind. But it also went through my mind to bet on Dan Hooker. And so that lets you know that my betting is like this. So when I give you guys betting odds, take it for what it is.
Take it for what it is.
What
50%
else?
chance you're gonna lose.
What else do you think? I think let's to wrap up this main card. Dustin Poirier fought a great fight tonight. Did everything he needed to do. I think Mike Brown deserves a ton of credit for getting him mentally focused and mentally ready for this fight. And I think there's so many things that need to be talked about in terms of both of them need to be applauded. You know, Conor McGregor for donating $500,000 to Dustin Poirier's charity. Conor McGregor for even just coming basically out of, I don't want to say out of retirement, but coming back and doing the fight with Dustin for something like this. Because remember how this all started was because of the charity situation. Like, hey, I want to fight. I want to get this thing going by December. It was December originally. And Conor had reached out and said, look, then fine, we'll just make it a charity event for your charity. I'll donate the money. It was smart. It was a brilliant game plan on his part to get him active and busy. If he is serious about coming back and staying busy, John, then I think we'll see the old Conor come back if he's that serious. Do I think he will be? I don't think so. I think he's got way too many other things going on. It takes up too much of his time, especially now with a new baby on the way. He's got another baby on the way. So I think he needs to stay focused on his business ventures and grace us with his presence, you know, in terms of, you know, talking about fights, helping push the fights and promoting these younger athletes that are coming up. I think that's great. But Dustin, I think he's got the futures ahead for him, man. I think he will fight for the title next, and we're going to see if he ends up being the undisputed UFC world champion in his next fight, which I think he's got a good chance of doing.
He definitely does. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And then when you look at the co-main event, you got to give it to Michael Chandler, man. He did exactly what he needed to do. He went out, he put pressure, he created a situation, he lands the big shot. He created that. And then was smart enough when he hurt him and started to go towards the guillotine, pushed back. So I'm just going to keep on hitting and, you know, made the referee stop the fight. But just a great performance by him in a tough situation, but he made it fun and he made it to where it worked for him.
Yeah. Like you said, both fighters, both co-main event and main event, they did what they were supposed to do tonight. So you can look forward to them probably being for the title, is what I believe. What else is there?
So this is all happening in real time, but Conor's saying, so Conor's made a couple of comments. First comment he made was that he never got rocked. He said it was there was calf kick that he was feeling, and he just said it was like it just took him out. He didn't expect it, and he didn't train for that. And he said he wasn't rocked at all. It was just he couldn't stand. And so that was the real issue with what finished the fight. And then he said that he will regroup and he will come back and fight again. And he doesn't know who, but he definitely will be back.
Well, if he is going to come back, I think he should walk away. I think he should just go do what he wants to do. But if he is going to come back and he is going to be reinvigorated, I think it's going to be Justin Gaethje. I think it's a smart fight for him to take. Both going to stand. I think he's going to focus on his boxing and his kicking again. He's going to have to work on checking that kick. But, I mean, like I said, with the Justin Gaethje fight, they're opposite stances. So it's not as effective.
It does make a difference.
Yep, and he's very good at checking that inside kick and throwing that straight left off of that. You know, so I think that's what's going to make a difference if he does come back. But we'll see. What else is there?
Did you guys follow the story that came out during the week? Hold on, let me pause this real quick so I got in my ear. The story that happened during the week. Otman Azator, I don't know how to say his name. He basically had somebody sneak into the bubble, as they were calling it, and they still didn't confirm what was in this bag that was
doesn't matter.
Recovered.
Yeah,
I don't care what's in the bag. I don't care if it's if it's a freaking nuclear weapon. I don't care if it's money. I don't care if it's marshmallows. What that guy did is he went and put everybody in that organization, every fighter, every staff person, every hotel person, he put them all at risk. Now, not so much risk of I'm not making COVID like it's, oh my God, they're all going to die. That's not it. But he put them in a position where they could have lost money. They could have lost their fight. The UFC could have been in a huge, huge problem based upon what the decision-making process of one fool was. You know, a lot. I've heard some people say, "Oh, to cut him, that is so wrong." No, it's not. Not even close. He deserves to be cut, and I hope that no organization is dumb enough to pick him up, because if he did that there, he would do it with you too. And there's rules. There's rules that everyone follows. I want you to think about this. Because Josh, you and I have to sit through quarantine all the time, right? It's a lot of fun, isn't it?
It's the greatest part of my trips.
Now, think about being out of quarantine, and now someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, just so you know, we had a problem. This individual that's over here that you were in contact with just for 3 seconds, I need you're going to go get tested right now, and I need you to go back into quarantine, and we're going to retest you after you come out of quarantine." Tell me what you would say.
Asshole.
Are you fucking kidding me? I got to go sit in my fucking hotel room again? It will drive you crazy, and that's what happened to certain people.
Yeah.
They had to go back into that. And so, I mean, I thought the UFC handled it correctly. I thought they were totally right in getting rid of that fighter. And I think that fighter has no concept of what he did to everybody there and what risk he put the UFC as a promotion in. Bad.
Yeah, I look at it from I heard there's a video going around. I didn't see the video. But from what I understand, the fighter cuts the band off, gives it to his buddy, or gives it to someone to give to his buddy. His buddy then comes into the hotel, goes up to like a hotel.
It on.
Okay, but he taped it on, goes up to a hotel room that's 4 floors above his room, and then shimmies down to his balcony and goes into the balcony and then into his room with a bag, changes his clothes, and then walks out of the room without the bag. No one knows what's in the bag. Just overall, the optics of it all looks freaking horrible. Absolutely horrible. I mean, like I said, I'm not even getting into the COVID situation. I don't know how high this thing is. 4 stories, though, is a lot. What happens if he falls and kills himself? This is stupid stuff. What was that important in that damn bag? Someone's like, "Oh, it was money." You know, though, I want to make sure this is clear. Maybe it was. But here's the other thing. You know, you can check that in at the hotel lobby, okay? And then they'll bring it to your room. You're like, "Yeah, but it was money." Okay. What about the guy who gave that guy the band? That guy must have been in contact with the fighter. Why can't you just give that guy the bag for the money and then he could have walked it? What was the point of all this? So whoever gave the guy the band to get into the hotel and get up to the room and then shimmy down to his room is obviously could have been in contact with the fighter. What was that important to get into the room? That's what's scary about the whole situation. I don't know what it was, but it must have been something really, really. Think about this. What if it was just lingerie? How dumb would you know, like, what if it was something really, really stupid, you know, like, oh, he wanted
I don't know, lingerie is kind of important.
But if he wanted something, what if he wanted some stupid food, like some different type of food they didn't have at the hotel? Like, are you kidding me? This is what you guys did for something like this? I mean, you're talking about fighters. They've been known to do stupid stuff. This is really just ridiculous. I mean, when it comes down to it.
That was a really stupid thing, because for no reason put everybody in a position where they were affected negatively based upon his decision and his actions.
Yeah. I think that I'm not too keen on saying that nobody should sign him. I think that what you do is you let the dust settle, say, give it like, say, 6 months to 8 months, and you say, "Hey, did you learn your lesson? Did you?" Because look, we talked about this, about the Greg Hardy thing. Eventually you got to give someone a second chance. You know, You got to give him second chances. This is a second chance situation.
I agree. But boy, it'd be a while before I'd sign him. If I was in charge of a promotion, it'd be a long time before I signed him because I can't trust him.
Yeah, that's true. Yep. It was sorry guys, excuse me. Whew, past my bedtime.
Boy, what time is it there?
It's 11:30 at night.
Oh my God, that's nothing.
I know. What is it, like 3 a.m. where you're at?
2:30 in the morning, and I have to be in a car 7 o'clock for an airport.
No, so why even go to sleep?
I'm not going to.
What else you got for us?
And some funnier news. Did you guys see the Din Thomas Khabib video where
You're such a jerk.
Khabib mistook Dean Thomas for Ease Edwards and basically told him, like, I don't like you because you beat my teammate Josh Thompson.
There's a video too of it. Dave sent me the video.
Oh, it was so funny. It was so good. Yeah, so just wanted to highlight that moment in time because
that is hilarious.
Not a lot of people might see it.
Oh man,
are you guys doing some awards for Bellator that I saw?
I didn't. I saw that, but I think I couldn't understand what it was. It was in Italian.
John,
so
do you know
I think it was like some sort of like Italian reward thing.
It looked like
they had you and I for something. They had you and I for some reward, some award. I don't know if we won it or if we were if they were voting because it was in Italian, so I couldn't read.
You guys
what
were hosting some type of awards.
We're hosting things we don't even know about.
No, because they had a chain of them that went out. I only reposted the one with us in it, but there was a chain of them that went out. It was like with the Ring Girls, and there was another one with like a top fight. So I don't know. I couldn't read what it was because I don't speak Italian.
Did you see the thing that there was a story that came out? Jordan Burroughs, one of the great wrestlers of today and maybe of all time, saying, I don't think I'm going to do MMA. I don't like to get punched in the face. And I saw a lot of people are going like, oh, and it's like, dude, what's wrong? What's wrong with him saying, no, I'll stick with wrestling and I don't want to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like to get punched in the face. That kind of makes him smart.
Yeah. I mean,
boy, I would have loved to have seen him in MMA.
Well, you could. Yeah, me too. I mean, I want to see if someone could stop that takedown, that double leg. But the thing is, though, is that look, you end up being, look at what's Sarah McMahon's Olympic silver medalist?
What's that?
Sarah McMahon, isn't she a silver medalist?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So she's an Olympic silver medalist. It doesn't mean that's going to translate to fighting.
No,
don't get me wrong. She's good. But like we saw tonight, the lack of confidence to be on the feet. Like, put yourself in situations like that. It's just not. Why? I think he knows what his boundaries are. He's already got a family. He's really successful in what he's doing. He could run and do camps and do.
He could stay in wrestling for the rest of his life.
Yes, he can.
Being a coach, trainer, all those things, and he would be fantastic. And if that's what you want to do, Jordan, I'm 100% behind you. Don't get punched in the face.
I agree. Don't get punched in the face. Learn how to slip your punches. What else? What else you got?
That's it as far as news. I bet by Wednesday we're gonna have a shit ton of new updates.
I felt like there was more.
There was one thing about, and I don't know, talking about not Dustin, Dan Hooker. They were talking about he put his gloves in the ring.
Yes, he left his
That's
gloves
a weird
in the middle
thing.
of the ring.
I think it was more out of frustration, in my opinion, because he's too young, too good, has too much left in him to walk away from the sport. Now, I think it's frustration. And maybe a little disappointment in his performance and what happened with his fight, but he should definitely not be retiring.
Yeah, I can't imagine. He would. I mean, you would think, like, I guess for me, sometimes the fights that I lost, I didn't even bother keeping those gloves. I just I left them in the locker room. I regret that now, but it is.
They're bad luck.
Yeah.
Bad luck gloves. Get rid of them.
This is Dana White says to Khabib, imagine what you and Conor would do in another fucking fight.
Why would... See, that's the stupidest thing.
It's an old
ever.
story. It's an old story. It's an old story. I'm just reading through the news that happened this week while they were getting ready for this fight. So.
No, that's the. I mean, that you talk about a fight that is gone.
Mm-hmm.
That one's gone.
Scroll up a little bit, Dave. Never mind. I thought that was Lorenzo Fertitta right there for a second.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty much it, right? That's pretty much all it.
I bet on Wednesday we have a shit ton more.
God.
Is it? Yeah. Do we have anything to announce for Wednesday's show? Is it just Josh or is it both of you guys?
No, it's even both of us.
What are you talking about? What is
I
wrong
thought,
with you?
I thought we're kicking John off. I thought we're taking a break from Big John for a little bit.
Is mine.
Man, he just keeps cutting into his pay, Big John.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. That quarter is down to an eighth now.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
Yeah, I thought I had some news that we were talking about. Oh, I was like the guy fighting the guy who got cut. What else was there? There was a lot of things on my mind this week. I'll tell you, I'm doing like a remodel at my gym right now, so it's just like trying to get all that construction done. What else? Are you gonna be in LA next week?
I will be in LA next week. Yep.
Why don't you just come film here in the studio?
Because I'm in LA, not San Jose.
It's only 5 hours, John. Come on.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Come on, Josh.
Negatory.
Just jump in the car.
Negatory.
You're that close, man. You might as well.
Jumping in.
Can you imagine how happy our fans would be to see us in the studio together?
That means I'd have to look at Podcast Dave. You know how, dude, I get an upset stomach.
Yeah. It'd be kind of easy. Kind of easy.
I thought that happened to old men at like 78 anyway, like just upset stomachs for no reason.
You want to know what's really fucked up, Dave?
What's up?
When an old 78-year-old whips your ass. It's embarrassing.
Well, what you don't know is that a 32-year-old is faster than a 78-year-old.
Oh, now he's running.
I'll run you easily.
Okay, you'll definitely outrun me now. I'm done. I ain't running no more. That shit hurts.
It's funny when I don't know. I showed you guys the pictures of my kid's head. When he fell last night, when we were in the hospital, they had to hold him down so they could put staples in the back of his head.
Yeah.
And the doctor was this 6'5", like fucking massive guy, and he's like, you guys need to get him into sports. I was having a really hard time holding him down.
He's strong.
He's a strong kid, man.
He's a big boy.
I know.
He's a big boy.
He's crazy
for his age.
That Scottish blood running through him.
All right, everyone. I want to thank you guys for joining the show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Go to mybookie.com, mybookie.ag. Hope you guys played some good, smart bets and you did not listen to me and you listened to John because you would have won some money had you listened to John. Use the promo code WayneIn and they will double your... No, they will not double. They will give you 50% of your initial deposit up to $1,000. So if you put $500 in, they'll give you another $250. So you would have ended up with $750. So hopefully you guys did that. Also go to prowrestlingtees.com/WayneIn. Use the promo code podcast. Get additional 20% off of our plethora of shirts that are available for you. So we've got a Karate Kid one that John is wearing today. Or not John, but sorry, podcast. I keep mixing you guys up today. I'm on point, aren't I? So we have a Karate Kid one with Big John and myself and even Podcast Dave on the computer on that one. And we've got the Terminator one as well. And we've got our original one. I like the original one from our very first logo that we had. That is the. It's
because you're a homer.
I am a homer in that situation. But yeah, we've got a great shirts that are up there. Check that out. prowrestlingtees.com/WayneIn. Promo code is podcast for additional 20% off. What you got, John? One last thing to say, buddy?
I got nothing else to say. I got to get on a plane. I hate planes. Go ahead, Josh.
See ya.
Boom.